Hey, hey, hey. What sitcom was that? Huh? Hey, hey, hey. I don't even know, but I think there's an answer out there. Anyway, sorry, I'm a little bit late coming in, but I get two more unexcused tardies. I looked at the student handbook. Anyways, I was actually just um I don't know if this brings to mind this book and this author, this fish, the fish philosophy. I grew up with this, honestly. I was a middle school principal. I brought the fish practices, and there really are just only four fish principles. It's simple stuff. But I was just thumbing through this because I had the opportunity to bump into John, the founder of the fish philosophy. Yeah, we had lunch yesterday, and what an amazing individual. I tell you what, just the blessing of life is being able to meet incredible people, certainly read incredible books and just expand our knowledge and that type of thing. But I'm just amazed at how timeless, this was 25 years ago, folks, 25 years ago. that This old fish still smells pretty good. Okay. So that's a shout out to you, John. Really excited for the work, the legacy that you have developed, you've created, and I don't think you're done yet. I don't think you're. How many of you have been impacted? This is not our topic today, but how many of you have been impacted by just the fish movement? I'm not going to go into it because if you have like life altered because of fish, put something in the comments. My guess is there's some friends out there. They probably represent a particular generation because I don't think that my kids have heard about the fish principles, but many of you and many of them um, probably have gone to Seattle. And instead of going to the Space Needle, where do you go? You go watch the guys chucking the fish around. That's what this thing is all about. All right, back to our regularly scheduled program. Did I say hey, hey, hey? Listen, I'm going to tell you something right now. That's probably going to make a few of you just really uncomfortable and might make a couple of you just mad, but it's going to make all of us wake up to what's really just actually happening in our districts, across our campuses. Maybe, exemplified when we're stuck in another budget meeting. So I think it was last Monday. Yeah, Monday. I'm on a call with the dean of students from a campus. Um, we'll just call her Jennifer. Okay. About 15 years in education, very experienced. 15 years. The kind of leader who just transforms campuses. She's got a good, thick, rich resume. And she says to me, Joe, and I'll never forget this. She said, I feel like I'm screaming underwater and everyone thinks I'm just waving. I had to think about that. I had to just think that right there. That's the moment I knew we had to have this conversation here today because here's the brutal truth that nobody really wants to say out loud. 1 in 8 teaching positions right now is either empty or filled with someone who ain't certified to be there. Yeah, you just found just I think a good human to fill the role. But you know what? That's not even the real problem. The real problem is educators, the ones that are still there, who stopped caring 6 months, maybe 6 years ago, and nobody really even noticed, right? Listen, it's okay to admit that you've been really just so busy managing the machine that you forgot about the people that are running it. But it's also okay, I think, you know what, to say, I've been checking boxes. I'll just be honest. Well, my team's been kind of checking out because there's so much in education is just compliance based, right? Oh, we've got our not certification. Come on, accreditation coming up, so we got to go check all the boxes, right? And those are the seasons where we just tend to forget about the humans, and that's not weakness; that's awareness. right? I'm not just calling you out. I'm calling all of us up. And that awareness is where all transformation must start. And I think because of, I mean, fist of five, what would you say in terms of five, the most healthy systems on the planet right now, public education? Four, three, two. Right now, as we're talking, um, there are brilliant educators. My beloved Miss Becky is still um, doing her thing. She's not home yet. Um, they're in your buildings who maybe just one bad day away from updating their LinkedIn profile and just doing the hustle, right? And when they leave, they're not just taking their talent, they're taking their hope, they're taking their heart, they're taking all the building tools that they used for you, yeah, to someplace else. And the kids are watching, right? They're learning that caring too much leads to burning out really fast. So, pace yourself. I've got a leader that on a regular basis tells me, Joe, pace yourself. And I hate that. I love him, but I hate that. Pace yourself. I think that just stops today. Let me drop some research on just teacher turnover. You can look this up yourself, but everyone talks about people leaving districts, but the real instability, that thing that nobody's really measuring, is people transferring within the system, right? Not leaving the system altogether, but this building, bad leader, bad culture. I want to go to the other building where it's a decent leader and a decent culture. Yeah. From one toxic environment, uh, and really just seeking any place where they can just breathe and have a different dinner time conversation, right? And get this, every single year um, since 2021, and this number has gone up um, to 2024 to 2025. In 1 year, almost 5,000 more positions became unfilled, right? It's sad to see that education, one, is a hard place to bring people into, but two, it's a hard place to keep our best and brightest. Yep. So we bring in the unqualified or 5,000 in 1 year. 1 year. A few weeks ago, I'm running a leadership intensive with the superintendent. Um, there's 12 people. It's $1 million budgets, right? Thousands of staffing, not thousands, but you got a number of staff that are just reporting to them. They're real power players, right? And break time comes. So this guy, let's just call him Andre. Okay, he comes up to me and he wasn't quite shaken, but you could tell he was shaken, right? Literally, just to the core. And he whispers, "Joe, I don't know if I can do this anymore." And I had that moment myself, so I picked up on it right away. You can feel that energy. You can just feel that energy of resignation in another. This isn't a first year teacher, folks. This is a leader with probably close to 20 years of experience. I don't think I can do this anymore. And you know what I realized? It's certainly not a competency problem. It's a connection problem. He was just dying from the inside out, and nobody knew because everyone just assumed he had it all together. And you know what it's like, boss? You just got to be bulletproof when you step out in front of people and you got all the right answers and we got all the right processes and we've got the right partnerships. But inside, you and I both know, I don't know what the flip I'm doing most days, right? I've worked with hundreds of district leaders from rural Montana to downtown Chicago, uh, wealthy Connecticut suburbs, just under resourced Mississippi communities as well. I love the work. I just love the work. Different zip codes, but the same story. Okay. Leaders just working themselves to death, but feeling completely alone and isolated. Yeah. Hitting metrics, but losing their souls. Teams that look just like really functional on paper, but kind of fractured at the very, very foundation. So it breaks my heart. It does. The schools that are serving students who need stability most, they have the highest turnover, right? Teachers keep leaving and searching for somewhere out there, right? Anywhere where they can just survive. And those babies who need us most, oftentimes are just getting the least stability. Tell me that that just makes sense. Tell me it doesn't make sense. But unfortunately, it makes sense to so many of our realities. So, how many of you right now are leading teams where everyone looks engaged, but something just feels really off? How many of you have just watched talented people go through the motions, activity, but not a whole lot of productivity, doing their work, but not bringing their heart? I tell you what, when the heart light goes out, what follows? The headlight. So when we stop caring, we stop just bringing our very brilliance to the job as well. Let me ask, how many of you are just holding your organization together through sheer will and wondering how long, Joe, I don't know if I can do this anymore. How long you can keep that up? Yeah, if that's you, go ahead and comment in the comments. Real. Just put the word real because we're being real with each other right now. We're being humans, and humans have to solve this human problems. Having this problem, and it's I'm not going to say it's killing us, but wow, we're getting yeah, the challenge is real. Okay, okay. Let me break down the science of why all of this is happening. So Google, you've all heard of Project Aristotle. They studied hundreds of teams, and they tried to figure out what makes teams. Why some of them just crush it, while others just kind of exist, right? And you know what they found? You know the answer: psychological safety. Taught this lesson yesterday to a district of directors and superintendents. By far the most important factor. It kind of touches on that whole trust thing, doesn't it? There is a difference between trust. It's like, do I feel like you got my back? That's trust. Psychological safety is, um, can Joe be his self right here? Because I'm a little bit different than you, and you're a little different than her. And can we just be ourselves? Listen, because this is critical. Psychological safety isn't about being nice. Hey, we're the nice campus. Well, no wonder nothing good and productive is happening. Kind is good. Nice, I don't know about nice. It's not about making everyone comfortable, right? It's about creating environments where people can be candid and ask for help and admit mistakes and just say, I've freaked up. Because without that ability in today's complex world, you literally cannot get anything done. And that's just the reality, right? Think about what you're navigating right now in the campus space. Mental health crisis, learning gaps, the storm, the political firestorms, staffing shortages, budget cuts, parent protests. Put in the comments, what did I miss? What did I? The complexity is off the flipping charts, and the pressure is insane in the membrane. Yeah, sorry. Your parents probably wouldn't allow you to play with me as a child. In the middle of it all, just that chaos. Tell me the truth. How many of your people really do feel safe saying, I don't know how to handle this? It's not a rhetorical question. Exactly. Here's what happens when people don't feel psychologically safe. They suppress all of the critical information. They don't raise red flags, right? They don't challenge bad ideas. They just sit there in silence. And it creates preventable disasters, right? In healthcare, this means medication errors. We've seen that because healthcare and education are two of the most unhealthy, stress off the charts sectors on the planet. All right. In education, that means teachers are drowning in classroom chaos, but too afraid to ask for help until they quit. They just up and, oh, that beautiful human is now on a bench in the park saying, I can sell your house. Yeah, principals seeing problems but staying silent because naming that reality just feels kind of dangerous, right? Got to have your stuff together all the time. Cabinet members watching initiatives that are just like, whew, that one just kind of fell through our fingers, but nodding in meetings and because disagreement really feels like career suicide. Yeah, managing up is a thing. Harvard researcher Amy Edmondson, and I think I've mentioned her before on a few other streams. She studied hospital teams, I think, and found something really, really fascinating. And in some of the teams, people openly talked about errors and then they fixed them. In other teams, people kept mistakes, they stuff them. My secret. You're not going to know about it. Same organization, same training, different culture all together. Now apply that to your campus. You know, some leadership teams can say this isn't working and here is why. And other teams, everyone smiles in meetings. We're looking for the next award because we give awards out like you have 20 kids on a little league baseball team and everybody gets a chance to swing, right? And then all the real stuff happens in the parking lot. Which one are you leading? Yeah, this really revolutionized how I see struggling organizations. It's not about talent. You've got incredible talent. For you to just be able to find a spot on that campus, it is incredible. The that little tiny needle hole that you have to go through to, land a position. Yeah, it's not about effort either. It's not about competence. It's not about effort. Everyone's working crazy hard. We're also flipping busy, right? I've seen your schedules back to back to back to back to back to back to back come up for air, and then it's back to back to back to back. It's about whether your culture makes truth telling safe or scary. That's the bottom line. Ask yourself right now, write it down. Ask a trusted colleague, is truth telling safe or is it scary here? And maybe the answer to that question will be just evidence of the answer to that question, right? Whether vulnerability is seen as a weakness or actually as wisdom, whether asking for help gets you supported or sidelined. Heard a story yesterday of big, big new leader coming into a system and just sidelining everybody because your trust must be earned. What if we worked from your distrust is earned? So it's a upfront, I trust you, right? Whole different culture, right? When teams lack psychological safety, your best people are job searching, surfing all the time in secret. Right? Your innovation at actually you can't be creative and be filled with fear at the same time. Those two never mix, right? Because ideas always feel risky and problems repeat because naming root causes, it actually just feels impossible. And everyone pretends that they're just fine, 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 but everybody's falling apart. Right. And then the next generation is looking at us going, oh, looks like pretending matters more than truth. And we wonder why in the world seems to be just a little bit cray. Yeah. If you're seeing it right now, just maybe put in the comments, I see it. And if you want to explore what psychological safety could look like in your specific context, I've actually got some tools. I'll put some links in the description. Come on, let's go. Let's take a look. Um, Now, let me tell you about a superintendent who did something that was completely different, maybe changed how I think about leadership. I'm going to call her Dr. Chen, urban district, not quite 40,000 students, but edging into that space, struggling performance for years, right? She's been there for 14, I think, months and operationally just crushing it. Facilities were improving, budget was becoming balanced again, and the board was kind of happy. But something really just kind of felt hollow for Dr. Chen. So I'm facilitating a little cabinet retreat. I think there were about maybe 8 people. Finance, you had academics, you've got HR. I asked one simple question. I said, what's happening in your daily experience that nobody in this room really knows about? Not perplexed looks, but that hollow look, silence, complete silence. These people met weekly. I think it's more typical to have every other week admin meetings, but not weekly. And they made decisions affecting thousands of students, and there's supposed to be a team. I gave it more than 8 seconds of wait time. It felt like, it felt really like probably almost like a minute, honestly. Then curriculum director, VP, not sure. David was the name. Close to 9 years he's been in the district. It says something just kind of shattered everything. He said, I wake up every morning terrified I'm failing these kids. And by the time somebody tells me, it'll be way too late to fix it. You could just feel it in the room. Like David broke a dish and got people's attention and said, let's be real. People weren't visibly crying, but you could just see that the pre-cry was happening. Not because they're weak leaders, because someone finally said it out loud, what everyone else was feeling in private, and it was just liberating. The research on psychological safety, it just enables knowledge sharing. It enables rapid feedback and productive risk taking. And all of that stuff drives higher performance, right? Without it, teams suppress critical information. They create these preventable failures. But with it, teams surface problems early. They iterate much, much faster and turn those mistakes actually into breakthroughs. That's exactly what happened in this particular district. So beautifully simple, but just turn the dial a little bit. Okay, she sent every principal and cabinet member a message. She said, I'm trying to become the leader you deserve. And she said, I need you to help me. And this was probably in month 16, 17. Yeah, definitely past the 100-day mark, but not to 2 years. She said, complete this sentence. I wish my superintendent knew, ... She collected them. A couple weeks later, she read every response. She didn't defend any of it. She didn't explain. She just absorbed the reality. She couldn't see from her perch, right? Her office. And then she brought individual conversations, the one-on-ones. One, she said, just thank you for trusting me with that powerful question. I needed to know. And then she unpacked it a little bit. Hey, help me understand your daily experience. And also, what would real support really look like? And is it okay if I challenge you? She didn't just leave, it's so important not to just work from the support standpoint. We lose sight of that, in our kind, nice organizations, but that can feel like protection in the long haul. If all we're doing is working on support, folks, I want to feel challenged in any engagement that I'm in. And if it's safe, I want that person that I know cares about me to not only support me, but also to go, you know what? I think you're ready for the next level of challenge. So, can I challenge you? And here's where, or I observed this the other day. And Joe, you know, I got your back, right? You know, I care about you. You know that I see more potential in you than you probably see in yourself. So, I got to ask you about that because that was off a little bit. That's what we call trusting collegial relationships. That is what we call psychological safety. That is the kind of stuff that drives team performance to differentiated levels altogether, right? Um, so with that particular activity, we saw lots of engagement. The student satisfaction rates went up, the teacher retention, those rates went up. We studied this stuff on an annual basis, and I remember the leader telling me, the superintendent, she said, Joe, I used to go home every night wondering what I was missing. She said, now I know, and knowing, even when it's hard, is better than kind of guessing. Isn't that so true? So why suppress it? Why play the game to go, okay, I don't want to scratch and sniff what might actually be true. So we don't go there. But going there, honestly, it creates liberation, not only for you, boss, but your entire team. I've seen it happen. Yes, there is definitely some risk involved. If you've got some bad players on the team who might misuse that, that's always a risk. That's why leadership is a real thing. I can't believe that happened, right? But the beautiful part, when leaders model that vulnerability, it cascades. Um, and your principals will create it with teachers. Your deans will create it with faculty. Your teachers create it with students, and parents see adults collaborating authentically. Does the world need a little bit more of that? Absolutely. The whole culture shifts, okay, from your team to your system, perhaps even to your community. It moves from that performance theater to actual performance. Yeah. So listen to me right now. You have a choice. You can keep leading in a culture where people hide their struggles, right? And it's just performative. And you make decisions based upon incomplete information, or you can build psychological safety and transform your good organization to something where people are going, whoa, and perhaps stealing some of the best talent from across the street. Back to Amy Edmondson. She said it perfectly. She said, you no longer have the option of leading through fear. In an uncertain, interdependent world, it doesn't work. So, where fear is, there's no progress. Never. Never. We fight or flight or say frick it, right? So, three things you need for psychological safety right now. One, your team. Think about it. If your team looks professional, but something unprofessional or just unspoken just lingers, that's a psychological safety thing, right? If you're solving the same problems repeatedly, that's a psychological safety thing, right? If you see your best people disengaging and you don't, what is going on? That's a psychological safety thing. Yeah, if any of those hit, you're not alone. And you're not stuck because teams that master it, they're going to get 50 up to 50% better retention, faster problem solving, dramatically higher innovation, and students who are watching adults modeling real collaboration. So here's what I want you to do right now before you click off the stream. Take out your phone, text 3 people on your team. Find 3 rando people. Hey, I'm working on psychological safety. I believe in it. I believe it really is. It is critical for our team. Complete this. I wish you knew ... and I want truth. Yeah. Not what you think I want to hear, right? And just send it. 3 people. Let them know what you're working on. Complete the sentence for me, please. I wish you knew ... Send it. Do it now. Do it right now. Don't just agree, actually act. And you can also take a freebie, free team intelligence assessment. You can go to higherperformancegroup.com. That's not just, I'm not throwing this out there because it's a, this is a time for a commercial. It really is a powerful assessment. It'll take you 5 minutes. Take you and your team 5 minutes. There's something about putting objective truth on the table to go, do y'all think there's any validity to what we see here? You might have a few people raise their hand and go, it's been unspoken, right? The team intelligence assessment, you can find it higherperformancegroup.com. Click on the little button up in the right-hand corner that says discover your team intelligence. So 5 minutes. It reveals where you're crushing it and probably where some of those limiters are hiding as problems at the moment. So you got a choice right now. You can keep managing perception, or you can build psychological safety that transforms lives. The students who need it most oftentimes are getting it the least. Let's create some stability. Let's create some trust. Let's create some compassion, and let's create more hope, folks. And that changes with you, boss. That changes today. It can. You're not stuck. Take the assessment, higherperformancegroup.com. Take the team intelligence assessment. It's a free registration. You have to actually register. I'll send you a link for that. And you can start building safeties and stop the exodus. If that is you, truly, make truth telling safer than silence. And that's where, not just moving furniture around and you call it transformation. It truly is. We are literally changing the culture of education. It begins with the tippy top of the organization. And I know you're tired. So I get up every morning to inspire. And I hope this has been inspiring, to challenge. And I know it's been challenging, but also to equip. I want to give you the tools to help you love on more of your people with efficiency and effectiveness. So your students are watching, your team is waiting, your legacy, I think, is being written right now, boss. So let's go. Let's go. I'll see you next week. Now, get out there and lead like you mean it. Peace, friends. Take good care.